A woman in Minneapolis, Minnesota was fatally shot by an ICE agent today. Now, this story is still developing. I'm sure those who follow this type of news on social media have come across the multiple videos that have gone viral of the tragic event.
Welcome back, folks, and buckle up. Patriots, we've got something to tell you today because we're diving headfirst into a story that's got more spin than a washing machine on overdrive. We're talking about an ICE agent, a shooting, and a whole lot of conflicting narratives that frankly makes your head hurt. But don't worry, we're here to cut through the noise, call out the nonsense, and get that right to where it matters. And that's the true facts and information. So let's get into it and let's roll.
But the victim was described as a 37-year-old white woman, and that's according to Minneapolis police officials. And soon after this story broke, we had a little more clarity in terms of the identity of this woman. So she's 37-year-old Nicole Good. Renee Nicole Good, her bio on social media stated that she was a poet, a writer, a wife, and a mom. And that she was from Colorado, but experiencing Minneapolis, Minnesota. She is now, unfortunately, dead as a result of an ICE agent shooting her. Now, later in the segment, we're gonna show you what I think is the clearest video of the incident. But first, let me give you some more context. So witnesses, along with video evidence, do contradict the claims that are being made by federal officials who allege that the shooting happened in self-defense. I'm sure that there will be many who defend the Trump administration, especially when it comes to his deportations and his deployment of ICE agents. They're gonna see the video and they're gonna say, no, she tried to run them over. I have a different take. We're gonna watch the video and the slowed down version as well, and you can judge for yourselves. But here's what the feds are saying. So soon after the shooting was reported, Tricia McLaughlin, who's the Assistant Secretary Deputy of Homeland Security, says on X that today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. So these are very strong words. I want you to remember them as we watch the video. But let me continue with the rest of what she had to say. An ICE officer fearing for his life.
Whoa, hold your forces there. Act of domestic terrorism? Seriously? We're talking about a woman in a vehicle and the immediate jump to it is domestic terrorism? This is the kind of rhetoric that doesn't just inflame situations, it actively poisons public discourse. It's like someone spilled a glass of water and the first thing you hear is, they're trying to drain us all out. It's a coordinated attack. They're gonna drown us, they're gonna kill us. No, look, I get it. Law enforcement is a tough job. They face real dangers. But when the initial response from a deputy of Homeland Security is to label it innocent, before all the facts are out, mind you, as domestic terrorism, it raises some serious red flags. It sounds like an objective assessment and more like an attempt to preemptively control the narrative, to justify whatever happened by painting the alleged perpetrator in the darkest possible light. This isn't just about some specific event or incident. It's about a pattern we're seeing. A challenge to authority and perceived resistance. And suddenly we're hearing terms that should be reserved for actual organized violent threats to our nation. It cheapens the meaning of true domestic terrorism. And frankly, it makes people less likely to trust official statements when they hear such over-the-top accusations. If this woman is indeed or was indeed a threat, if she truly weaponized her vehicle, then let the evidence speak for itself. We don't need a government official throwing out buzzwords designed to shut down debate and demonize individuals. Let's stick to the facts. Let's stick to the evidence, and let's not turn every unfortunate incident into a national security crisis just because it involves an ICE agent. The truth, when it comes out, should be enough to stand on its own, without this kind of verbal assault artillery. Let's see what the video actually shows, instead of taking this narrative at face value.
She says, The lives of his fellow law enforcement and the safety of the public fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. So here's what DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had to say. Here's her account.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
So you now have the perspective of the federal government. They're claiming, well, these ICE agents, they were in imminent danger. They were being run over. They were being run over. Okay. Well, luckily there were witnesses on the scene who filmed the entire thing. There are multiple videos from multiple angles. I've watched as many of them as I could find. This one happened to be the clearest one in my view. So we're gonna watch the video as it was filmed in real time, and then we're gonna watch the slowed down version of it. I want you to pay attention to the placement of the federal agents. I want you to pay attention to the wheels of her vehicle and where they are turning, because I think that's important. I want you to focus on the speed in which she is moving her vehicle. With all of that in mind, here is the video showing what happened. Take a quick look.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my God! What the? What the? You just, what the did you do?
So before we get to the slowed down version of the video, I want to reiterate what we heard from DHS, or what we read from DHS, that there were violent rioters present. Look, we don't have the full context, right? So we don't know what happened before that video or that phone started filming that video. But as far as what we saw, was there a violent riot? I didn't see a violent riot in that video. Now, more information could emerge that shows otherwise, but now they also claim that the driver was attempting to run the ICE agent over. It looked to me that she was slowly pulling forward and moving the wheels of her vehicle to evade the police or to evade the ICE agents. Now you can say, well, evading officials, evading law enforcement is wrong. And that's fair if you want to say that. That does not justify shooting and killing an American citizen or shooting and killing anyone. Now people are asking, well, what was the ICE agent supposed to do? I'll show you what he was supposed to do. Move out of the way. I didn't even need training for that. Move out of the way. He had enough time to reach for his gun, but he didn't have enough time to move out of the way.
Okay, hold on a second. Move it out of the way? Is it really that simple? I didn't even need training for that, move out of the way? With all due respect, that's an incredibly naive and frankly dangerous perspective to take when discussing split-second decisions made by law enforcement in high-stress situations. This isn't a game of dodgeball on the playground. This is real life, real decisions. When a vehicle, even one moving slowly, yes, moving slowly, is being used in a way that an officer perceives as a threat, especially if it's coming at them or their colleagues, their training kicks in immediately. The idea that an officer should just move out of the way and hope for the best, allowing a potential dangerous individual to escape and perhaps pose a threat to others down the line, completely ignores the realities of their job. They're not just trying to save their own skin. They're trying to contain the situation and protect the public. So let's be real. A car is a lethal weapon. It is, even at low speeds. It can cause serious injury or death. To suggest an officer should simply step aside when a vehicle is allegedly being used to evade or threaten them and a fundamental misunderstand the concept of self-defense and the duties of law enforcement? We can't debate whether the perception of threat was accurate. but we cannot dismiss the officer's right to defend themselves or others in a perceived life or death scenario by saying, just move. When people say just move, that's the difference between people that have been in the situation, like the ICE officer, and the people and the analysts that say just move that haven't. There's a big difference between the two.
DHS official also claimed that the 2 ICE agents were injured. Did they look injured to you? So that's my perception of it. Now let's watch the slowed down version of the video and pay attention to the wheels of her vehicle, because that'll show you that she wasn't trying to run into him. She's trying to evade the ICE agent. Take a look. So we've heard from the federal government attempting to defend themselves after this pretty damning incident took place. And by the way, this is with the backdrop of all these other cases in which ICE agents have brutalized people, including American citizens. And we're gonna get to that context in just a second, because I'm gonna show you the goods. But because of that video that I just showed you, the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, or Frey, I should say, weighed in and said, these claims that the ICE agents did this in self-defense is BS. Take a look.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is, this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
And as you can imagine, Trump had a very different take because he wants to defend this type of state-sponsored violence against everyone. Doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or not an immigrant. Doesn't matter if you're an American citizen or not. I mean, this is the type of state-sponsored violence that we are now living under in the United States. You don't like the fact that she's trying to evade authorities? That's fine. How about you arrest her? But in that moment, you have a choice to make as an ICE agent. You either gun down and kill an American citizen, or you just move out of the way and you catch up with her later and press charges against her. But that's not what happened. Here's what Trump said. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. I agree with that part. But he continues, the woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer? Did you see an ICE officer get run over? Because I didn't. Like, the gaslighting is out of control, man. It's out of control. And this is what Trump does. This is the only thing Trump is really good at. He's really good at looking at a fire and telling himself, how can I make this worse? Oh, look, I've got a gallon of gasoline. Let me go ahead and pour it all over the fire. There are mass protests taking place in Minnesota right now. Rather than calming things down like a leader would, fire, I love it. Let me just pour gasoline on that. There's more. He says, based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive. It was a woman. Oh wait, I'm sorry, he's talking about the ICE agent. It's hard to believe he is alive. He finds it hard to believe that the ICE agent who didn't get run over is alive, who didn't get hit by the car is alive. He's amazed by that. I am so sick of brain dead politicians ruling our lives, stealing our money, and terrorizing us. I'm sick of it. Important to note that the agent, again, was not rushed to the hospital. In fact, video shows that the agent that Trump is surprised survived this vicious attack, got in his vehicle and drove away. As for the footage that I showed you, I want to talk a little bit about the witness, what she saw, because she did mention that the victim here attempted to block the ICE agents, and that probably upset them. And that's probably why they felt in their minds it was justified to rob a human being of her life. So the witness who took the video, Caitlin Callinson, said she was on a walk when she saw an ICE vehicle stuck in the snow. As more ICE vehicles arrived, bystanders blew whistles in protest, and the driver of the SUV tried to block the ICE vehicles. And the part that really disgusts me is the following. After the shots were fired, the driver was completely slumped over in the vehicle, said Emily Heller, another witness. Federal agents wouldn't allow a man who said he was a physician to examine the driver, Heller said. Emergency medical technicians arrived 15 minutes later, she said. So that was bad enough. I didn't know if what the witness was saying here was true. Sometimes witnesses, their recollection isn't entirely accurate, but it turns out we have video showing the ICE agents preventing the doctor from reaching the woman who had just been shot. Take a look.
No chance of whoa. No, back up now. I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, understand. We got EMS coming, and I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Medics. Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor. You caught your butter in the face. You killed my neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man?
Whoa. Let's pump the brakes on the federal agents shooting and killing American citizens as if it's some sort of routine government policy. That's a massive leap, and frankly, irresponsible. To suggest that every ICE action, or even this action, is part of some grand scheme to kill American citizens is just not a stretch. It's a complete distortion of reality. Look, I'm the first to call out government outreach, and I believe in accountability for every individual, especially those in power. If an officer acts unlawfully or uses excessive force, they should absolutely be held responsible. But to paint all federal agents with such a broad, vicious stroke of a brush, implying they're just out there shooting and killing people for kicks, that's just fear-mongering. The America First slogan, which the speaker sarcastically throws in there, has nothing to do with federal agents supposedly killing American citizens. It's about prioritizing our nation's interests, our borders, and our people. Conflating a tragic incident with a political slogan to imply some nefarious agency is a classic tactic to sow division and distrust. And frankly, it undermines legitimate criticism. Keep to the point and just don't throw around the slogans that you want to promote. Very simple.
So congratulations, America. You're all working hard, you're paying your taxes, you're seeing your money robbed by your federal government to fund foreign wars and essentially oil seizures on behalf of oil companies who I'm now learning that the profits from said oil isn't gonna be sent to the Treasury. Trump announced this apparently. It's gonna be sent to offshore accounts. Congratulations, making America great again, America first. Federal agents shooting and killing American citizens and pretending like they had to do so because they were in imminent danger.
And there you have it, folks. A deep dive into a situation that's more complex than many want to admit. It's easy to pick a side, but it's crucial to demand truth, context, and accountability for all parties involved. So tell me, what do you think? Did the officials go too far with their claims? Was the officer justified? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you want more straight talk and less spin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown. Until next time, stay vigilant and stay informed.